Hello, everyone. Happy podcast day. It is an afternoon. It's kind of a rainy afternoon here in New York. And I'm very excited to be here to answer one of the burning questions that we get all of the time when we talk to fundraising individuals, uh, CEOs, development directors, event planners, moms, dads, board members. They ask me the same question. But before I dive into it, I do want to say hello, everyone. My name is Bobby D, and I'm so excited to be the singular host of Heart of the Gala today. And we are going to ask that burning question: where do we put our paddle raise? Well, friends, I will give you the answer right now. It depends. Is, isn't that like the worst answer ever? Well, it does depend. It depends on so many things. So let's do some definitions first. Definition number one first. What is a paddle raise? A paddle raise is when we make a general ask to a large audience after a testimonial story, maybe that heart tug story, maybe a video, maybe a PowerPoint presentation, maybe a in-person testimonial speaker. That story sets up that what we call a fundraising crescendo, and then in which your fundraising host, your fundraising auctioneer, your MC, whomever, then makes the ask: who out there would like to join us to help fund this mission and give it that level that's inspirational for you? And there's a much deeper pitch that goes into that, but it's pretty much we are going to ask at different levels this evening, my friends, and we're going to be starting at the $10,000 level, and we're working our way all the way to 100. We want to find a opportunity for everyone in this audience, 100% of all of you out there this evening, to make that contribution. So friends, when you hear that level that you would like to give at, please do raise your paddle. And then what happens is, okay, who can give us $1,000,000? Paddle goes up. Who could give us 500,000? Paddle up. Who could give us 1,000, 250, 100, so on and so forth, all the way through the many different levels. And it all depends. And there's a strategy of where you start and then where you go and the different increments and all that. That's a whole nother podcast. We'll talk about that later. But we're going to talk about where you put your paddle raise within your fundraising event. And again, paddle raise, paddle. We love paddles. Some groups will be utilizing a cell phone. I am actually on Instagram Live. Hey there, Instagram Live. Good to see you. You can follow me at Bobby D Auctioneer. So this is where you put your paddle raise: before the auction, after the auction. In traditional sense, it's always been done after the auction, and it was always known as kind of the clean sweep of the audience and gathering the rest of the money that was left in the room after the live auction. So you have your live auction, in which we have fabulous trips and prizes and all kinds of fun things that only 5% of your entire audience are going to bid on. And it's true. It's really about 5%. We've studied that. It's 3 to 5% that are actually going to bid on your live auction items, whether it's trips, experiences, things, stuff. We like to call it stuff. And within that, you're really going to have like 1%, 2% actually win the auction items and make that contribution. So they're going to bid, and an auctioneer like myself is going to go 2,500, 2,600, 27, 28, 29, 3,000, 35, 4,000, 45, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000. Anybody else going once, going twice, and it's sold. You got it, Bobby D. What's your number? Oh, thank you, Bobby D. Number 123, $10,000 going to the great cause this evening. Thank you so much. Next auction item. Next auction item, rinse and repeat. And everybody claps and everybody has a good time and dun 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 all the way through. But again, 1-2% actually get to make a donation or a transaction right there. Paddle raise is where everyone gets to make that donation. And now, what was best practice now is maybe not best practice. There's instances in which we are now encouraging and consulting with our clients to put the paddle raise first before the live auction. And now there's many of you that are out there probably right now listening and watching and like, Bobby D, you are crazy. Why? That makes sense. Somebody that doesn't win in the live auction is going to give what they thought they were going to give in the paddle raise, and then everything else can be collected in that paddle raise. And there are instances, yes, where the paddle raise after the live auction makes a lot of sense. There's many conditions for that. But we're going to go and talk about paddle raise first, because that's what we love. That's what we're seeing as a trend, especially within all of the nonprofit galas that we are finding across the nation, that it the paddle raise first is very, very effective and it's working really, really well. And we're doing the majority of our fundraising early on in the program, early on in the gala, uh, before everybody is too sauced up and has way too much to drink. We don't want them wasted. We want them lightly toasted. Remember that, lightly toasted, not wasted. So doing that storytelling up front, doing your testimonial speakers up front, video up front, and then making the ask, and then doing the paddle raise, and then after that, depends on what's in your program. So we like to fundraise early. We like to fundraise first, dance later, fundraise first, celebrate later, so on and so forth. And the reason we're seeing that work so well is because the misnomer, the misinformation of the paddle raise last, or even the last thing at the end of the night, which is a no-no. Don't do that. If you're waiting till the end of the night to do your live auction or your paddle raise, you are not going to raise as much money as you absolutely can. Why? Why? Well, you know why, because your guests are leaving. They're like, all right, dinner's over, dessert's over, there's nothing in the live auction, I'm out of here. They're gone. And what do they take with them? They take their paddle. What else do they take with them? Their wallet. They're gone. They're not making a donation. If they are not in the room, they are going to be raising $0 for you. So don't do your fundraising last. Do your fundraising first, and then you can do all the other things after that. But don't wait until the end. So then best practice with your paddle raise last then would be earlier in the night. Tell a little bit of why we're here, live auction, testimonial story, and then paddle raise. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. I've had a bunch of coffee today, and I've continued to imbibe on the coffee with my Mandalorian mug to celebrate the new season 3, which is awesome, by the way. And or yes, all of these things. Paddle raise first. Now, the reason we do the paddle raise first is to capture that 100% attention, 100% engagement, and 100% or trending towards 100% participation, which is what we're really looking for. So if you place your paddle raise at the right time within your timeline, you are going to be finding the best spot to make that ask and finding what we call, again, that philanthropic crescendo. I like to call it the golden goosebump moment. It's where you do, again, I talk about storytelling all the time and why it is so important to talk about the mission and the impact these dollars are going to have on your mission and the impact the dollars previously raised have had on the mission, and in which the donors are now responsible for pretty much the future of your mission. No money, no mission. Lots of money, lots of mission. Makes sense, right? Well, so that's what we're looking for. Again, it's that attention and it's that focus. It's the energy that is in the room with your donors and with your guests that are there and their focus. We want them at their most energetic and we want them at their most focused and not drunk. No drunk, lightly toasted. And when you do that, you do have the opportunity to capture that 100% attention. At the end of the night, half, 3/4, maybe 90% of your room is gone, and it's just the people that kind of maybe want to buy the live auction items, and then maybe you get the leftovers with the live auction or with the paddle raise. Again, don't do that. Paddle raise first in this case. So now there are events in which we are doing paddle raise first, and then that was great. Everybody is given. That's amazing. And now let's go into the live auction where it becomes the fun and games. It becomes it's been coined lately, the auctiontainment. And then that becomes kind of the dinner entertainment for the rest of the evening. And then after that last item is sold, however many items you have, don't do more than 8, maybe 5, 3, maybe 1 item. Do you have to have an auction? That is that's going to be the theme for another podcast. So stay tuned for that. But then it's the rest of the night. Honorees, awards, band, whatever can happen after the fundraising. Because remember, say it with me, friends, we fundraise first, dance later. Fundraise first, celebrate later. So with that fundraising first, paddle raise first, and then live auction, you do, again, keep the energy together. You keep the momentum built within there, and you're going to have 2 different buyers. Now, this is going to be very important to keep in mind as you're working with your professional fundraiser to identify where your paddle raise is going to be. Now, is the paddle raise first or last? Maybe in the middle. Ooh, throw another variable in there. But there's 2 types of donors that are in your room. Donor number one is what we call a transactional donor, a donor that is giving to get something. Now they're giving to get something, and there's many donors that are out there that are like that. Actually, there's 3 donors. Yes. Now I like the one donor, which is the philanthropist. So donor one would be transactional, which is give to get. Donor two is the philanthropist that is just there to help fund your mission. They love your mission so much, and the ROI that they get from their gift, from raising their paddle, from their philanthropy, from their generosity, is that feeling in their heart that they know that you are good stewards of their money to make an impact with your mission. Ideal donor. Love them. And then you do have the third donor that's kind of the gambler, the one that's kind of the one that takes kind of some chance and some different things. So I'm getting some feedback from my friends that are on my Instagram Live. My good buddy Dan, good to see you. Thank you for that. I'm going to move that. All right. Oh, you know what? Since we are live on Instagram, if you have any questions, do throw them in. And also my friends on YouTube, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn, go ahead, put some questions in the chat, and we'll have our friend producer pop it out there. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. All right. Yeah, pop a question in there, and I will answer that because we're live. And we might not be live when you're listening to it, but you can always ask us questions. Very, very easy. Again, my name is Bobby D with Heart of the Gala, Inspire Hearts Fundraising, Call to Auction, and Star Benefit Auctions. I'll explain all that at another day too. So, paddle raise. 3 types of donors. Transactional, we have transformational, which is our philanthropic donor, and then we have the gambler. Now, one particular guest can be all 3. They can love the paddle raise, they can love the live auction, and they can love buying raffle tickets or gaming or playing within the additional revenue generators. They can love that, and that's totally cool. Totally fine with that. And there are donors and guests that are going to come to your auction where they are only one type of donor, which is the transactional, the give to get. Like, I'm going to give you money, and then you're going to give me something that I get. A trip, maybe a signed football, maybe an experience, giant bottle of wine, a new car. Who knows? I don't know. But then they are giving in with expectation of receiving something in return, in which they can go have fun in, which is totally cool. We love that. We love that. And then again, you have the gambler who might win. They might buy all the raffle tickets. I don't know. It's fun. It's a game. It's a revenue generator. You're not going to base solely your fundraising on revenue generators. And we'll do a whole podcast just on revenue generators, and we'll have some fun with that. So when you have and understand that you have these 3 different donors that are there at your event, they will participate at different areas of the room. And when you look at, again, how many percent within the live auction are going to participate? 5%. How many people within the paddle raise have the opportunity to participate? 100%. And we want all of our donors to be that philanthropic donor, to be that transformational donor, to give them that chance to be in there and in the moment and a part of the activity that's happening, the fundraising, the fun, the collective community that's giving, that experience in which a group of people came together to make some amazing things happen. And with those amazing things happening, that's where we're funding your mission, and that's where we're making the magical things happen with a gala fundraiser that can happen at a gala fundraiser. So that's why we are encouraging our clients and the rest of the nation to be doing a paddle raise first. And that's why, because again, 100% attention. We're going to have them at the right energy level and the right focus level and the right intoxication level, because, say it with me again, toasted. Lightly toasted, not drunk. Drunk people don't give money. And we'll have a whole episode about talking about why drunk people don't give you money. Anyways, moving on. I digress. So now let's talk about why you would have, or how you would have, a live auction first and then the paddle raise to then precede it. So I have clients that come to me and they say, Bobby, where do we put our paddle raise? And then I ask the question, okay, where and how many of your guests stick around after the live auction in previous years? And if I'm hearing that they have a ton of people, that's a mass exodus to the door after dessert served, after dinner served, after the live auction, I am going to say, let's put your paddle raise first. Unless we can adjust the timeline with the storytelling. And it also depends on the amount of storytelling and type of storytelling that you have and the type of, again, assets that you have. And it's, one of those things that you got to figure out. It's like, okay, how are we going to tell this story? The live auction doesn't need as much storytelling as a paddle raise does. So if you have some good storytelling assets, you've got a great speaker, you have a great video, and you have some those great heart tug moments, you can then do that for sure. You can definitely do a smaller, bite-sized piece, inspirational story, why we're here, leading into the live auction, showing this is why, and then here, live auction buyers, you can then bid in the live auction and help us fund XYZ. There we go. And then make that transition into the paddle raise, in where you then dive a little bit deeper into the storytelling. You have a much more higher value story, a much more personal story, a much more impactful story that does tug on more heartstrings that are in the room. Now you could get a little sneaky if you wanted and identify who that 5% of your transactional donors that are in the room and what really tugs at their heartstring, what how you would say, what kind of trips their trigger, what's their affinity for your organization, and then maybe tell them that story. Because when you tell people what they want to hear, then they give you what you want, which is money, time, attention, network, so on and so forth. So live auction, beautiful story, and then paddle raise, and then because we fundraise first, then the rest of the stuff can happen. So live auction or small storytelling, live auction, big storytelling, and then paddle raise. And then after the paddle raise, then you can do the rest of the night. That's the instance in where a live auction would work, as long as your audience is there with full attention, with full energy. You have them at the lightly toasted stage, not the completely hammered stage. That's when your live auction could be appropriate. And then your live auction first would be appropriate. But we are still really pushing towards paddle raise first. Now, out of our 2022 events that did have a paddle raise in it, 60% of those events were paddle raise first. And the results were that we raised more money within the paddle raise than previous years. Now, you do have to take into account the 2021, 2020, what happened there. We all know. We're not going to drag it through the mud anymore because that was then. That's the wake of the boat. But now here we are post-pandemic, and the expectations and the energies and the focus of donors is definitely changing, is definitely transforming within the world of galas. Now, what I love the teams that are out there, the nonprofit professionals, the development directors, the CEOs, the event planners. You're designing beautiful and amazing experiences. 2 thumbs up. Do that. Creating galas unlike anybody else has seen in the world, creating a atmosphere and an experience that not only looks good, number one, needs to feel good, and then taste good, and they're able to move good within that and create that fully immersive donor experience. Now, the ones that are doing that, you are setting the bar high. I love it. Keep doing that. We got to keep fundraising better, and you're going to hear me say it all the time. Fundraise better, do better, keep going, fundraise better, do a gala better, because you can do it. And we should be striving for that. We should be doing things that are uncomfortable. Yes, not the way we've always done it, because we've never been here before. So we have a whole brand new ground to go forth. So for those of you that are doing it great, again, 2 thumbs up. Love you all. Keep it going. You're awesome. Have set an expectation that's very high for now. These new donors that are going to these great events, love them. But now they come to the same old event that was just like 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016. It's the same blah, 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 blah. Cocktail hour. Let's get everybody drunk. Welcome, dinner, buffet, whatever. More honorees, more honorees, more honorees. Boring stories, and then we have a live auction at the end of the night, and that's it. And we do the paddle race at the end of the night, and half your, or 60% or 90% of your audience is gone. That's the way you used to do it. And you used to serve everybody rubber chicken, right? Remember the rubber chicken dinner? Yeah, please don't do that anymore. I had a couple this year, and they still taste as terrible. Change that up too. So that's where the expectations of your donors are like, yes, we want to do that. Yes, we love events that are different than anything else we've ever been to and have ever been a part of. And we will stick around. And we will follow you on this gala journey, this gala experience in which you're taking us on, if it's different. If it's not, they might not even come. They're like, okay, this looks just like it used to be, and we're not okay with that. Moving on. Let's go find another charity that has an event on that Friday night or Saturday night. And if you're still having your event on a Friday or Saturday night, why are you doing this to your donors? We'll have a whole nother podcast about that. Maybe my friend Dean Cronover, Dean the Auctioneer, right there on Instagram, who's joining us live today. Dean, what's up, buddy? Good to see you come all the way from Georgia. It's great to have you with. And again, if you are live on the Instagram, hey there, we're talking about when the paddle raise is best. When do you hold that within your event? Where do you put that? Do you put it before the live auction? Do you put it after the live auction? Do you put it in the middle of the live auction? Third option. Let's talk about that now. Putting the paddle raise within the middle of the auction. And why would you do that? Why would you break up the flow of the live auction? Well, this is why we love to do that and have consulted with that on a few events, especially this year, where there's very particular, again, circumstances, just like particular circumstances in which you would have your paddle raise after the live auction, and then also particular circumstances where you would do the paddle raise before the live auction, or a paddle raise only event. Again, very similar circumstances. Got to figure that out. Work with your consultant. Figure out what's going to be best for your audience, for your mission, for your fundraising goals and hopes and dreams for that. So when I find the best time to do the paddle raise in the middle or towards the front of the live auction is when there's lots of live auction items. Now, we did do an event in the Midwest a couple weeks ago where they had 12 live auction items. And I know everybody out there's watching like, Bobby, but you told us don't have too many live auction items. And I'm like, yes, you're right. 3 to 5, maybe 7, maybe 8 if they're really good and you have a very good auction focused crowd and they don't have anything else to do that night and they will stick around for your live auction, you can do that. 8 items. And in this particular case, the culture of giving has always been a very large live auction. And they've always done this and they've always budgeted for it. And this has been a part of their culture. And we're shrinking from 18 items to 15 items to 12 items to 11 items. We're getting there. We're almost to 8. We're getting there. We're very, very close. And someday maybe we'll be 3. So with that, you have that long live auction. And again, you only have 5% of your donors that are actually going to bid in the live auction. And if you hold it after 8, 10, 12 items, again, your audience is going to leave. So let's try to capture that audience, but let's still have fun with our live auction and do that short storytelling, that little micro, not really micro, but just mini storytelling and get that first. Move into live auction. Love to do a warm-up item, especially in large auctions. Sell a glass of water, sell some champagne, sell a dollar bill. We've all done that. And it's a great way to showcase the opportunity we have with philanthropy and generosity and fun within the live auction. And we'll talk about best practices of live auctions at a future date. Of all this great content and all these great ideas. God, I could talk about this for hours. How long have I been talking? I don't even know. 20 some minutes. We're almost done. So warm-up item, auction item 1, auction item 2, auction item 3, auction item 4, which if and when you do your paddle raise in the middle of your event is to then have, I love to suggest having a mission-based item, auction item up front. Now, in this particular case, it was an art museum, and they're very, very, deep into glass collecting, and they've got lots of glass lovers, aficionados, and there is a glass consortium or conference that's in the summer, and all the glass artists come, and they do a glass art auction, and they do all of these fun, wonderful things. So what was created was a mission-based event that experience that we sold in the live auction leading into the paddle raise and into the storytelling that was just about to happen. So we're evolving the event from transactional giving, bright, shiny live auction items, experiences, fun, wine, food, Ferraris, whatever it is in their live auction. But now we're trending towards mission storytelling, mission-based storytelling. And that is so important to help make that transition, because if you sell Super Bowl tickets, yay! All right, friends, now please focus your attention on the screen and watch this great video. You're going to have people that are still jazzed on the Super Bowl energy that just happened, and it's hard to settle them down. It's hard to get them focused on mission from that. But if you're having a mission-based item, you transition them nice and slowly and purposefully to move into the why we're here, into that testimonial, into that storytelling. Now, mission-based item. And then from there, all right, friends, that was great. Give yourselves a big round of applause. We had a great live auction. And now, please, I'll direct your attention to the screens. Or this is why we're really here. This is the most important time. This is my favorite time of the evening in which everyone is going to have the opportunity to then raise their paddles at that level that is inspirational for them. And then storytelling, video, inspirational speaker. You can have them right there, do that storytelling right there, and then make that transition then into the paddle raise. Now, paddle raise, different levels, 10,000, 5,000, something, something, so on and so forth. You will make that happen. Oh, hey, what's up, Jeff Green? So you will move into that. Jeff, leave me a comment, add a question so that I can see what that question is that you might have. So where was I? Paddle raise. Okay, 10,000, 5,000, 2,500, 1,000, 500, 250. And there's some fun things that you can do to really, really re-engage that entire audience or that transactional donor and utilize some different methods, some different revenue generators. Maybe it's heads or tails, maybe it's different things, yada yada, to get that auction energy back into it. Then we move back into the live auction, and then auction, and you can finish on your great last live auction item. Thank you so much. You could do some incentivized giving at the end of that, and we can talk about some examples of that later. Incentivized giving could be last donor standing, last hero giving, paddle drop, some different things that can happen there to, again, re-engage your audience after the live auction, and then again kind of sweep up that dollars that you've always been looking for after a longer live auction. So there's an instance in which you could put your live auction within the medal. So there it is. To answer your question, where do we put our paddle raise? It depends on everything. And just like everything within your event, it all depends on so many different elements that are there. This morning I was consulting with a theater group, and I love working with theater groups. Love them because they understand production value. They understand and have many times great singers, great dancers, great musicians, great lighting, great just production opportunities in which now we can pretty much fully produce a Broadway show with fundraising in the midst of it. And they asked me the same question, Bobby, where do we put the paddle raise? And then again, I asked the question, well, what type of storytelling do you have? I'm like, all right, well, we have this type of storytelling, and these are the live auction items. And we made the decision to do the paddle raise after the live auction because we only have 2 live auction items, which I love. And they are always theme-based live auction items. So we go boom, 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 and then paddle raise, and then it'll be performances for the rest of the night, and we can celebrate. And we're doing the fundraising first-ish. In the front half, in the beginning of the second act. There you go for my theater friends. In the beginning of the second act. So that is a real case study of how we're doing things here in fundraising world, in gala world, and helping you to put the heart within your gala. And when you think about the heartbeat of the gala, you think about that energy of the gala, you think about the purpose of the paddle, it's so, so important to find and identify where that golden goosebump moment is within your event so that you can get more paddles in the air. Because that's what it's all about. More paddles in the air equal more paddles in the air, more paddles in the air, more money in your bank account, more money in your bank account, more mission. Do we see how that's connected? Ooh, and the most important thing, it's not only about the dollars you're raising on that night, it's most importantly of the paddles going in the air, because you know what's happened when you do this effectively and you get a great tech solution that you can have your paddles attached to your donors' names with your donors' information, email address, phone number, regular address, then now you have a way to contact them. And this is great because it is easy to raise the paddle, even at the lowest levels, in which, one last story for you, there was a instance we were working with a group who had an attendee that had attended for a few years as a guest of a friend and had never given ever in the live auction, had never given in the paddle raise, whatnot. So we created an incentivized giving opportunity in which we awarded the last donor a bottle of champagne, a giant bottle of Veuve Clicquot. And in this case, this individual raised his paddle. He's like, I want that bottle of champagne. I'll give you $100 for it. Well, guess what happened? Because that donor, who was always just a guest and never participated in the fundraising, became a board member after that, because this is your job, fundraising professionals that are working in nonprofits, effective follow-up, follow through, and making sure that you keep that conversation going after the gala. Because the gala felt so good and he was able to raise his paddle, he became a board member. He brought in a title sponsor, which was to the tune of about $50,000. And he came in and matched gifts of up to $25,000. So when you start to think about that, that was that $100 donation that happened 1 year prior to that next gala, where that individual was a board member, brought in a corporate sponsorship, and brought a sizable matching funds for the paddle raise. It was just that easy. And that would not have happened unless we created an opportunity for everybody to give, for everyone to raise that paddle, and for everyone to make a difference. So there you are. I hope I answered all of your questions. Where do you put the paddle raise? Beginning, middle, or end? Or do you even have a live auction and maybe just a paddle raise, which there's lots of paddle raise events that are going out there. And again, it's like, well, when do we do a paddle raise only event? Again, it depends on so many factors, but that's why you need to work with experienced, knowledgeable fundraising professionals that have been there, that have done that have seen, that can help guide the decision, not necessarily dictate the decision, but guide the decision with you to make together where the appropriateness of where your paddle raise is going to be. Well, I do want to thank everyone for spending some time with me. Please, 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 if you like the video on YouTube, you know the things, thumbs up, subscribe. If you're liking this on LinkedIn, please leave me some comments, leave me some questions. Would love to see that. If you're on Facebook, hey, Facebook friends, we love all of you. But yeah, again, please put your comments, put your questions in there, thumbs up, all of that. Share it with your other nonprofit friends. And then if you're watching here on Instagram Live, thank you for spending some time with me. Follow me at Bobby D Auctioneer on Instagram. And you can follow us as well at Inspire, or at I Inspire Hearts, or and at Call to Auction, and at Star Auctions. Don't forget to follow my lovely partner in crime, my lovely wife, my wonderful right-hand person who is absolutely amazing, at Gala Auctioneer. Guess what? We got merch coming soon. We're figuring this out. Next week, we'll have some merch that we'll show you, and it'll help to inspire you, and maybe help to inspire that next action. I heard a great quote this morning, and we'll finish on this note, that nothing great has ever been done without inspiration. And that's as simple as it is. So you set up that golden goosebump moment, identify that right place, make that ask, get those dollars, and make something great happen. Again, my name is Bobby D. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Don't forget to, follow us on all the podcast platforms that we're on, and see you later. See you next week. So go out, make an impact in the world. Go out, be awesome like you always are. And remember that nothing great happens without inspiration. So go out there, inspire some hearts, make some great things happen, fund your mission. Everyone, have a great week. We'll see you next week. Thanks again for watching The Heart of the Gala. Bye, everyone.